Gold mines appeared on Cliffwatch Island. The most anxious, of course, was Gene High Count Tangluan. At this moment, he was having people study the gold from the mythical Turtle Count's mansion. He didn't believe that these golds were mined from Cliffwatch Island, but from another perspective, he was actually just jealous. When the alchemist confirmed that this was gold just unearthed not long ago, Tangluan's face changed drastically. How could this be? Cliffwatch Island has been mined for hundreds of years, and no gold mine was ever discovered, the alchemist hurriedly explained. Most gold mines are hidden deep underground, and gold mines are often discovered by chance. Hearing this, Tangluan coveted Cliffwatch Island even more, but he feared this was Shenlang's plot. Truly frightened by this little beast, then Tangluan bellowed, "Send more people to investigate. Try all means to probe the truth, to confirm the authenticity of this gold mine." At this time, Tangluan said, "Now the Jin family's defenses are extremely tight. The spies sent are gone without return, and they are also expanding their army, focusing their main force on Cliffwatch Island." At this moment, Tangluan looked towards Tanzone, asking where his elder brother Tangyan was. The only one capable of infiltrating Cliffwatch Island now was his martial full son. However, Tanzone, faced with his father's question, hesitated to speak. Seeing Tangluan about to explode in anger, he had no choice but to tell the truth. "Father, elder brother said he will not come. He doesn't have the time, and also said not to look for him in the future, to not disturb him learning the new swordsmanship." Hearing Tanzone's words, Tangluan became furious. This miscreant has gone mad following Li Qianqiu. This son of mine is truly raised in vain. After saying this, he ordered someone to prepare the carriage. It was necessary for him to visit Zhang Chong in mythical Turtle City tonight. That evening, Tangluan rushed to the Zhang family's old mansion. Faced with Tangluan's sudden visit, Zhang Chong was not surprised inside, but still showed great shock. However, seeing that Zhang Chong was truly recuperating in bed, Tangluan couldn't help but look down on him a bit. But then he thought, is he, the mythical Turtle Count, pretending to be sick? You, Zhang Chong, wouldn't be pretending as well, right? Then he jokingly said, "Mr. Prefect, at this time, you still have the interest to lie sick in bed?" Zhang Chong expressed helplessness. "I've reached my limits. There's nothing more I can do." Tangluan, dissatisfied, said, "If Prefect has other concerns, I won't insist. I came today to inquire about something. What do you think about the gold mine suddenly discovered on Cliffwatch Island? Is it real or fake?" Zhang Chong suggested. "Shenlang is too cunning, but this time it's too coincidental. It's very likely he made a huge deal with someone, exchanging for gold, perhaps with the Heavenly Path Society." Hearing Zhang Chong's analysis, Tangluan mocked. What kind of deal could possibly earn 800,000 all at once? The Qi family, being the Spice Kings, are wealthy enough to rival nations, yet they only earn around 10,000 gold coins a year. Unless someone loots like Qiu Tianwei, how could they earn so much? If there really is a gold mine on Cliffwatch Island, now would be the Jin family's most vulnerable time. Once they complete their military expansion, attacking them would be difficult, but the island's defenses are too strong. No one can get close to verify the truth. After hearing Tangluan, Zhang Chong simply lowered his head and said, "There is someone who, even if he went to Cliffwatch Island, the Jin family wouldn't dare kill." He then fell silent. Tangluan stood there, pondering Zhang Chong's words, then suddenly thought of Qiu Xiao. Right, if Qiu Xiao led 20 or 30,000 pirates to Cliffwatch Island, the Jin family indeed wouldn't dare to kill. With this thought, Tangluan didn't stay any longer, leaving with, "Prefect, please take care of your health." As he left, Zhang Chong smiled meaningfully. "Shenlang, I've delivered Qiu Xiao right to your doorstep." In Furious Tide City, a sandalwood incense was lit again. As the story of the Buddha must be destroyed unfolded, Qiu Yaoer became more and more intoxicated daily, wishing she could tie Su Chanshan by her side to tell her stories every day, especially when she heard about the Monkey King causing havoc in the heavens, proclaiming himself as the great sage equal to heaven. She listened with even more fervor. Now in her heart, this Monkey King is the true hero who fears no authority, daring to sweep away all injustices in the world. When she heard Su Chanshan say, "The Monkey King was suppressed under the Five Fingers Mountain," she empathetically said, "Am I not also suppressed under the Five Fingers Mountain?" Su Chanshan was suddenly stunned. Why would she say such a thing? You, Qiu Yaoer, with such domineering presence, now apart from a few grandmasters who can compete with you, who else is your opponent? Who else can suppress you? Qiu Yaoer sighed and said, "My heart is far away, but my body is imprisoned here." Su Chanshan's heart trembled. Qiu Yaoer actually opened up to her. Seizing this opportunity, Su Chanshan empathetically asked her, "Why not leave if you feel so suppressed?" Qiu Yaoer did not answer, simply asking her to continue the story. Su Chanshan naturally did not dare to keep asking. When the story reached Tang Sanzang rescuing the Monkey King and going to the west to fetch the scriptures together, Qiu Yaoer actually showed the longing look of a young girl. Then she stood up and looked out the window, wishing she could go to the ends of the sea like the Monkey King, wondering if it was as mysterious as in the story, but she couldn't leave. It seemed like she had an obsession, like a padlock, trapping her here. At this moment, Su Chanshan, looking at Qiu Yaoer's lonely figure, somehow felt a bit intoxicated in her heart. She was too beautiful and too strong. The charm she radiated was simply breathtaking. Suddenly, Qiu Yaoer felt a warm flow in her nostrils. ripples, followed by 2 streams of fresh red gushing out. Her brain also felt dizzy, rushing to her head. The next second, everything went black, and she collapsed straight down. Su Qianqian screamed in shock at the scene, hurriedly calling for help. But Qiu Yaoer never woke up. Qiu Yaoer's condition worsened, and all the doctors brought by Qiu Tianwei could not find the cause of the illness. In anger, he even killed many doctors to stop this slaughter. And to save Qiu Yaoer, an anxious Su Qianqian had no choice but to write a secret letter, seeking help from Shenlang. When Shenlang saw the content of Su Qianqian's plea, his instinctive reaction was, "This woman actually wants me to go to Furious Tide City to save Qiu Yaoer. Could it be a traitor's plot to harm me?" But then he thought, it's unlikely. After all, Qiu Yaoer is too hard to approach. Su Qianqian couldn't possibly become her confidant just because of a story. Moreover, before the Zhang father and son's death, she would not betray me. Burning the secret letter in his hand, Shenlang hesitated, taking down Furious Tide City. Qiu Yaoer played a key role. She absolutely must not die, but going there is too risky. After a long moment, Shenlang still decided to go. As for safety, he planned to seek help from the Heavenly Path Society again. After all, he is now an important partner of the Heavenly Path Society. A moment later, a woman with a peculiar appearance came before Shenlang. Shenlang asked with embarrassment, "Who might this lady be?" Huang Tong introduced, "She is my sister, Huang Feng." Shenlang was stunned. "Huang Tong, you really are generous. To build relationships, you even brought out your own sister." Huang Tong, seeing Shenlang's suspicion, then said, "Mr. Shen, though my sister's appearance is ordinary, her martial skills are exceptional. Please rest assured." Hearing this, Shenlang, skeptical, activated his Metal eyes and scanned Huang Feng. Indeed, although the woman's appearance is unattractive, her lineage is extraordinary, probably only slightly inferior to the martial fool Tang Yin. Well, ugly is safer, I guess. Thinking this, he thanked Huang Tong and asked his sister to get ready, preparing to leave once he was ready. Huang Tong again instructed his sister to comply with any request Shenlang had along the way. Half an hour later, a sudden figure startled Huang Feng. She saw a woman of stunning beauty and impressive figure, carrying a box, walking out from the house. The woman, seeing Huang Feng staring, hurried her along, really, making a fuss over nothing. "Let's go." Hearing the woman's voice sounded like a man's, Huang Feng realized it was actually Shenlang. On the way to the dock, Shenlang started bantering again. "Miss Huang, your brother said you're even better than my wife Mulan. In the younger generation of you Kingdom's masters, where do you rank?" Huang Feng replied, "I am indeed better than Jean Mulan, but I don't rank among you Kingdom's masters." Shenlang was surprised. Not even ranked? Then who is the #1 master in you Kingdom? Zhu Hongxue. Isn't Zhu Hongxue the son of Zhu Rong? General Zhu Lin sought a marriage with Mulan for him. Isn't Zhu Hongxue a scholar? He is accomplished in both literature and martial arts. His teacher is Zui Qi. Zui Qi is the honorary pavilion master of Sky's NC Pavilion. The founder of Sky's NC Pavilion was the Zui family, and Zui Qi is the heir of the Zui family, but he roams the world all year round, mostly sailing on the sea. Hence he is known as the honorary pavilion master. He roams the seas because of Qiu Yaoer's master, Luo Zhu, who is said to be the most beautiful woman in the world. Zui Qi roamed the seas for her, giving up Sky's NC Pavilion. Suddenly Shenlang asked, "Do you think Zui Qi and Luo Zhu have slept together?" Such a vulgar question made Huang Feng roll her eyes, but she still answered, "No, Zui Qi loves Luo Zhu, but Luo Zhu only sees Zui Qi as a confidant. Their relationship is very pure. It's not as dirty as you imagine." "Ha, there's no such thing as pure relationships between men and women. It's either he can't get her, or he's not capable." Listening to Shenlang spouting nonsense, Huang Feng was almost furious. "Damn, I really want to beat him up, but my brother instructed not to oppose any of Master Shen's requests." Then, all the way, it was just Shenlang babbling non-stop. Huang Feng no longer spoke. She was really afraid she couldn't restrain herself from hitting Shenlang. The next morning, the two arrived at the Radiant Valor County dock. Even though Shenlang covered his face with a veil, he still attracted the attention of countless men. After boarding the ship, a man called the White Jade Gentleman came to hit on him, but was mercilessly kicked away by Huang Feng. Seeing their master being attacked, the subordinates of the White Jade Gentleman swarmed towards Huang Feng. As Huang Feng's shadowless kick flew out, all the subordinates were knocked down, and Shenlang in the cabin, protected by Huang Feng, applying a face mask, and beautifully went to sleep for beauty rest. After a day's journey at sea, he and Huang Feng finally arrived at Furious Tide City. Looking at the castle in front of him, Shenlang couldn't help feeling a bit suffocated. Such a castle with a defense as strong as a turtle shell. Even with 10,000 men, it would be difficult to take it down. And originally, Jin Yu Count led tens of thousands of troops and couldn't deal with Qiu Tianwei. Now that the defenses have been strengthened, we can't attack forcefully but must rely on wit. Meanwhile, inside the castle, Qiu Yaoer weakly lay on a couch, surrounded by 3 maids taking care of her. Today, she had vomited blood 3 times already. Yet, even so, she sent everyone away, then had someone call Su Qianqian to continue telling her stories. A moment later, Su Qianqian hurried over, but when she saw Qiu Yaoer, she was genuinely shocked. She hadn't expected Qiu Yaoer to be so ill, yet still obsessed with her stories. At this moment, Qiu Yaoer's eyes eyes were full of bloodshot, and her eyelids and lips had turned dark purple. But she didn't waste words, just asked Su Chanchan to continue with the story. Seeing Cho Yaoer's condition, Su Chanchan was very worried. So many doctors have not found the cause of the illness. I can only place my hopes on Shenlang now. Soon, the new chapter of the journey to the west was finished, and Cho Yaoer's body could no longer hold up. Slowly lying down, the dizziness that made the world spin forced her to close her eyes. Then she instructed Su Chanchan to definitely wake her up before dawn. Su Chanchan, puzzled, asked her, "Is there something important?" Unexpectedly, Cho Yaoer told her, "I have arranged a duel." Hearing this, Su Chanchan was shocked, then hurriedly tried to stop her from this mad act. Knowing that, Cho Yaoer now could hardly even stand. How could she duel with anyone? But Cho Yaoer told her, "Tonight, I am to duel with Zhu Hongxue," and this appointment was made several years ago. Seeing Cho Yaoer so determined, she was also in a difficult position, because with her current status, let alone finding a doctor for Cho Yaoer, she wasn't even qualified to speak some words. But for the sake of this stubborn woman, she was willing to take a risk. "General, I know someone who might be able to cure your illness. Can I let him come see you?" A moment later, having received Cho Yaoer's permission, Su Chanchan turned around and ran towards the palace gate. She couldn't afford to delay even a second, hoping Shenlang would arrive at the agreed place on time. However, behind her, Green Ripples was watching her with a venomous gaze. Fixated on her, the anxious Su Chanchan didn't realize the danger, approaching her step by step. Seeing the figure standing at the secret base not far away, Su Chanchan knew Shenlang had arrived, hurrying even more. At the door, she didn't even greet the two people, rushing into the house, pushing the door open forcefully, calling out Shenlang's name, telling him to hurry back to the castle with her. However, before she could finish, she was startled into exclaiming by the scene before her, because where was the scoundrel Shenlang's figure? Only a beauty was greeting her. If not for the deep male voice breaking the beauty, Su Chanchan would hardly believe her eyes. "You, Shenlang, disguising as a woman is one thing, but to be so beautiful, how do you expect us women to feel?" Seeing Su Chanchan staring at him, Shenlang directly leaned close to her face. "Could it be you're smitten with me?" Su Chanchan, annoyed and embarrassed, "Just shut up. You've ruined your own image." But Shenlang, not caring about her words, even struck a charming pose, saying, "I, Shenlang, in this vast world, whether as a man or a woman, am unmatched." Suddenly, Su Chanchan appeared in front of him with a flash, carefully examining him. "Shenlang, you're amazing. Your disguise as a woman has no flaws. Cho Yaoer doesn't like men approaching her. Your disguise is perfect, but you must not speak, or you'll give yourself away. We must not delay. Let's hurry to save Cho Yaoer." Rumors in the inland describe Cho Yaoer as a ferocious demoness. Legend has it she's 8 feet tall, with a waist circumference also of 8 feet, a vicious murderer of many. However, Shenlang, who had prepared himself mentally, was shocked by her perfect image the moment he saw her. Her figure, her appearance, could instantly shatter a man's heart. Suddenly, he felt an unusual sensation below his abdomen. This was not good. To alleviate the abnormality in his body, Shenlang hurriedly imagined Huang Feng's face. In that moment, Shenlang's fire was extinguished. At this moment, he sighed in relief. Thank goodness for Huang Feng, the fire extinguisher. Otherwise, I'd be doomed. Then, Green Ripples came over with a gloomy face, asking Su Chanchan in a sharp and harsh tone, "Is this the doctor you brought?" Without waiting for a reply, she yelled like a shrew, "You're obviously a fraud. The master's illness, not even the most famous doctors can cure. What are you then?" Shenlang looked at the woman before him. "Seems like this is the bitch Su Chanchan mentioned, but I don't have time for her today. I'll settle the score with her later." Thinking this, Shenlang ignored Green Ripples, starting to use his X-ray vision to scan Cho Yaoer's entire body. However, the scan's results shocked him. This demoness has a ruptured brain vessel. A normal person would have died 800 times over. How is she still alive? Seeing Shenlang in a daze, Su Chanchan quickly wrote a note and passed it to him, asking if he could treat her. Because Green Ripples was there, Shenlang couldn't speak, so they had to communicate through writing. Shenlang wrote "can," but then he wrote another line, asking Cho Yaoer to remove her clothes. Su Chanchan, upon reading this, wished she could kill Shenlang with her glare. "What are you trying to do, you scoundrel? Don't drag me down with you if you want to die." Seeing Su Chanchan misunderstood him, he had to write another line, "I need to see her full body patiki eye." Although the reason was valid, Su Chanchan still feared Shenlang might take the opportunity to be a rogue, so she warned him softly, "You filthy rogue, you're not really trying to take advantage, are you? She could turn you into minced meat with a single slap. How will you treat her then?" Shenlang, seeing he couldn't convince her, could only whisper back, "This is a necessary examination. Hurry up and help her undress." Seeing Shenlang's unusually serious expression, even though Su Chanchan had a million questions, she had no choice but to trust him at the moment. Approaching the bed, Su Chanchan gently lifted Cho Yaoer's body, then whispered to her, "General, the doctor needs to undo your clothes for the examination." Cho Yaoer, in a semi-conscious state, just uttered without even opening her eyes. Seeing this, Su Chanchan sighed in relief, thinking she was indeed overthinking. Then, the two of them clumsily began to undress Cho Yaoer, but when Shenlang saw Cho Yaoer's naked body, he was first stunned. The next second, second, warmth flowed from his nostrils. Damn, Cho Yao's naked body is simply world-class perfection. Even on Earth, you couldn't find a second woman with such a perfect body. Not good, my body is reacting again. Shenlang then frantically slapped his own face, but it was all in vain. The image of Cho Yao's body, indelible from his mind, made his nose bleed uncontrollably. Helplessly, he had to resort to his last resort, imagining a group of Huang Feng surrounding him. After some struggle, Shenlang finally calmed down. Alright, now we can officially start working. But as a doctor, he stood at the pinnacle of morality at this moment, only seeing Cho Yao as a patient, thoroughly examining her body with full concentration. Green Ripples, on the other hand, was very dissatisfied with Shenlang's examination, scowling throughout. After a 2-hour examination, Shenlang quickly wrote down the diagnosed issues on paper. Seeing the examination was over, Green Ripples started fussing, wanting to rush him away. Su Chanchan narrated the issues to Cho Yao. General, do you only feel dizzy and nauseous when you open your eyes, and occasionally suffer from headaches, feeling like blood is rushing to your head? Cho Yao was stunned, then nodded and said, I indeed had headaches before, almost fainting, but I suppressed it with true energy. This doctor is truly remarkable. You are the only one who has accurately identified my condition. Seeing her so nonchalantly, Shenlang was shocked. What kind of monster are you, Cho Yao, to be able to suppress exploding blood vessels with true energy? If it were an ordinary person, their blood pressure would have burst long ago. But now, all signs from Cho Yao seemed to be caused by poisoning. Recalling the time Princess Ning Luo sought him out, she was just suffering from lead poisoning, whereas Cho Yao now is poisoned with a variety of heavy metals. After pondering for a moment, Shenlang had Su Chanchan relay a message. Please, General, clear the area. Hearing such words, Green Ripples was furious on the spot. You two frauds, trying to deceive the general with tricks and sorcery. Guards, quickly throw these two out. However, before her words could settle, Cho Yao, straining to open her bloodshot eyes, rebuked Green Ripples, step back. With Cho Yao's command, Green Ripples dared not continue her antics and, even with reluctance filling her heart, she could only bite her tongue and step outside. After Green Ripples left, the two helped Cho Yao get dressed. Then Shenlang wrote on the paper, the general has been poisoned. What poison? Shenlang continued writing for Su Chanchan to narrate. You are suffering from heavy metal poisoning. Normally, it's not noticeable. This kind of poison accumulates in the bloodstream over time, building up to a lethal level eventually. Your body, General, is unlike any humans. An ordinary person would have succumbed to such a high level of heavy metal poisoning, their body decaying beyond recognition, dead 180 times over. But for some reason, your skin remains smooth and radiant. Recalling Princess Ning Luo, who was poisoned due to the use of lead-containing utensils, the level of heavy metals in Cho Yao was so outrageous it seemed as if someone had been directly pouring them into her mouth. How was this achieved? Puzzled, Shenlang's gaze suddenly fell on the food beside her. In an instant, he understood how the poison was administered. Then he wrote on the paper again, if I'm not mistaken, the poison must have been in the food. Su Chanchan, seeing this message, was shocked. Impossible. The food the general consumes daily is tasted by me and Green Ripples. I haven't felt unwell. Shenlang continued writing. This type of poison doesn't cause immediate harm if ingested in small amounts, but long-term consumption will show effects. He then looked at Cho Yao again, wondering how the perpetrator managed to incorporate such a large dosage of various heavy metals into Cho Yao's food. After much thought, he suddenly realized how the poisoning was done. With salt, there's an industrial salt known as heavy metal salt, which inherently contains various heavy metals and is therefore prohibited for consumption. With this in mind, he immediately wrote down his thoughts. After reading it, Su Chanchan understood Shenlang's reasoning and immediately sent someone to fetch the salt from the kitchen. Moments later, Shenlang used his smart brain in conjunction with X-ray vision to scan and analyze the salt presented before him. However, to his surprise, both the composition and taste are indistinguishable from normal table salt. Could it be that my analysis was mistaken? Doubts. He wrote the question on a piece of paper, asking the guard, is this the salt the general usually consumes? The guard confidently replied, this salt is exclusively used by our master. Hearing the guard's response, Shenlang fell into deep thought again. At this moment, Cho Yao weakly spoke up, bring it here, let me taste it. However, the moment she put the salt in her mouth, her eyes widened. No, this isn't the salt I usually eat. The salt I consume has a complex taste, which I like. Shenlang was speechless. You could get addicted to the taste of heavy metal salt. You, Cho Yao, are indeed not like ordinary people. Su Chanchan then realized, if the salt brought by the guard was exclusively for Cho Yao, it means the salt she usually consumed was brought into the kitchen by the cook herself. Thinking this, Su Chanchan hurriedly ordered the guards to capture the cook. However, they were a step too late. The guards only brought back a new, young cook, while the original cook had already disappeared without a trace. At this moment, the young cook was kneeling on the ground, trembling, crying bitterly while expressing her admiration for Cho Yao, swearing her absolute loyalty. To prove her loyalty and innocence, the young cook rushed towards a stone wall. Just as she was about to hit it, Cho Yao's hand blocked her. Feeling the loyalty from the young cook through the force of the impact, which could only be released with a resolve to die. Cho Yaoer, stroking the young cook's head, said, "I know, I was wondering why the taste of the meals recently became bland and unappetizing." Then, with a frown, Cho Yaoer ordered the guards to bring in Green Ripples. Green Ripples entered soon after, only to be confronted by Su Chanqian, who demanded to know where the previous cook had gone. Green Ripples retorted defiantly, "Who do you think you are to question me?" But the next second, Cho Yaoer's cold voice commanded, "Answer." Seeing her master angered, Green Ripples quickly replied, 3 days ago, the original cook, Shu Shu, said her daughter was giving birth, and she needed to go home to care for her." Cho Yaoer, without paying further attention to Green Ripples, turned and ordered the guards immediately search for Shu Shu's whereabouts. She must be brought back to the castle. After the guards left with the young cook, Su Chanqian felt uneasy. Cho Yaoer fell ill and fainted 3 days ago, exactly when the cook left. Searching for her now might be too late. With this thought, Su Chanqian expressed her concerns to Cho Yaoer. "Master, if nothing unexpected happened, Shu Shu might already be dead." Within half an hour, the guards hurried back, reporting, "Master, both Shu Shu's and her daughter's homes are empty, and her daughter's house has been burned to ashes." Su Chanqian was shocked. Although she had suspected the cook might be silenced, she hadn't anticipated such swift action. She immediately demanded, "Who exactly wants to harm the general?" The guard suggested, "Such brazen actions under our noses can only be attributed to young Master Chiu Xiao. He has always seen the master as his biggest rival." At this point, the female guards insisted on seeking justice from Lord Cho Tianwei for their master. However, Cho Yaoer sighed and said, "Let it go. Let's end this matter here." The guards were perplexed by Cho Yaoer's decision. How can we just let it go when the young master has gone too far? Cho Yaoer remained silent. What could she do if Chiu Xiao was indeed behind this? She could be ruthless to others, but Chiu Xiao was her brother. With that thought, Cho Yaoer wished to no longer dwell on the matter, asking everyone but Shenlang and Su Chanqian to leave. Green Ripples, who had been silent, frowned upon hearing Cho Yaoer's command to leave as well, giving them a stern look before turning to leave. Once everyone had left, Su Chanqian anxiously said, "General, you may see Chiu Xiao as a brother, but he sees you as a thorn in his side. If we let this go, he will harm you again." Cho Yaoer interrupted her. "Stop." Then, turning to Shenlang, she said, "Doctor, I don't care if I live or die, but I have an important duel to attend in a few hours. But now I can't move my true energy, or my blood vessels might burst, and if I open my eyes, I'll feel dizzy and vomit violently. Do you have a way to make me feel a bit better? Just enough to stand up. That's all I need to fight." Hearing Cho Yaoer's request, Shenlang was astonished. "Are you mad? Your body is in this condition, and you still want a duel?" He had Su Chanqian relay his concerns, wanting to know who the duel was with that made Cho Yaoer willing to risk her life. At this moment, Cho Yaoer's face showed longing as she slowly said, "The top young master of Yu Kingdom, the pride of heaven, Zhu Hongxue." Shenlang was stunned upon hearing the name. Again him? How formidable is this Zhu Hongxue, that Cho Yaoer would disregard her own safety to meet him? Then Cho Yaoer continued, "Doctor, if it's possible, please proceed with the treatment. If there's no hope, I'll ensure you're rewarded handsomely and safely escorted out of the castle." Hearing this, Shenlang's brain began to work rapidly. Cho Yaoer's blood pressure has exceeded human limits. Her blood vessels could rupture at any moment, leading to severe cerebral hemorrhage and immediate death. Additionally, there's a hematoma beneath her dura mater, compressing part of her brain nerves, which is why she can't stand up. Any other doctor might find her beyond help, but Cho Yaoer, it seems today I, Shenlang, will perform the most insane surgery in my history on you. Thinking this, he simply wrote 2 words on the paper, "Can cure." Then he instructed Su Chanqian to light the sleeping incense. Next, it was Shenlang's turn to showcase his exquisite medical skills. Meanwhile, in Furious Tide City, within Cho Zhao's castle, a symphony of life harmoniously wafted through the air. But unexpectedly, the one completing this fervent encounter with Chiu Xiao was Cho Yaoer's most trusted personal maid, bitch Green Ripples. At this moment, Chiu Xiao sat up and asked, "Little wench, have you completed the task I gave you?" Green Ripples hurriedly smiled in agreement. "Done, done. The sleeping incense has been switched." Chiu Xiao smirked upon hearing this. "This is a valuable item I spent a lot of money on. Once I've had my way with Cho Yaoer, I'll reward you generously." Green Ripples quickly stepped forward. "My lord, about taking me as your concubine, does that still stand?" Chiu Xiao laughed lasciviously. "Ha, of course, it counts, you little bitch." Her mind drifted back to many years ago, when a young Green Ripples witnessed pirates brutally murdering her parents, and those beasts even refused to spare her, a child, just when she was about to suffer a cruel fate. Cho Yaoer appeared like a savior before everyone. The pirates on the ship, upon seeing Cho Yaoer, fell to the ground in terror, unable to move. With a swing of Cho Yaoer's saber, the next second, the pirates were decapitated. When Cho Yaoer gently extended her hand to the young Green Ripples, in her eyes, Cho Yaoer was like a goddess surrounded by a holy light, illuminating her soon-to-be dim life. Later, Green Ripples thought about clinging to Cho Yaoer's light to climb out of the dark abyss of losing her parents, wishing to become Cho Yaoer's real family. However, after getting to know her, Green Ripples realized how unattainably perfect Cho Yaoer was, truly like a goddess high above, using her warm light to dispel the darkness around around all the unfortunate women, but never investing more emotion and attention in anyone. Facing reality, Green Ripples once again stepped into the shadow's edge. It's like when you chase something for too long without ever obtaining it. Resentment begins to grow, and it was then that Cho Xiao appeared before her. This beast violated her in the most brutal way, making her wish for death. That was when Green Ripples turned completely dark. In her mind, if she couldn't have Cho Yao's affection, then by relying on Cho Xiao, she might become the mistress of Furious Tide City. Back to the present, Green Ripples lazily lay in Cho Xiao's arms and said, "My lord, that Shu Shu is already in her 30s with 2 children. Can you really sleep with that?" Cho Xiao was taken aback after hearing this. "I've never touched that woman." Seeing Cho Xiao deny it, Green Ripples laughed. "My lord, there's no need to pretend in front of me. Weren't you the one who killed her?" However, as her words fell, Cho Xiao fiercely slapped her, sending her flying with the force. Realizing she had misspoken and ignoring the pain on her face, Green Ripples crawled to Cho Xiao, begging for his forgiveness. Yet Cho Xiao, relentless, grabbed her and kicked her in the abdomen. Then, crouching down, he grabbed Green Ripples by the hair and demanded, "Wench, explain what happened with the cook's death." To save her life, Green Ripples clung to Cho Xiao's legs, telling him that cook Shu Shu had poisoned Cho Yao, but now the person had vanished without a trace. Hearing this, Cho Xiao flew into a rage. "That wench dared to poison my sister. I'll have her body torn to pieces and her bones ground to dust." Green Ripples was stunned by Cho Xiao's sudden display of affection for Cho Yao. When did the young master start caring so much for Cho Yao? Then, Cho Xiao yanked Green Ripples up and demanded fiercely, "Is Cho Yao alright now? Is her body harmed?" Green Ripples cautiously replied, "Not only is Cho Yao's body unharmed, but it has also become even more radiant and beautiful." Relieved by this response, Cho Xiao then burst into laughter. "That's good, as long as her face and body are fine." Cho Xiao again showed his greedy and sinister expression, saying, "Of course, I hope Cho Yao dies, but not before I've had my way with her 100 times. Then she can die." Hearing Cho Xiao's words, Green Ripples quickly said, "My lord, Cho Yao really likes the scent of the incense you sent. She lights it every night, but her unique constitution prevented the reaction. Now, the doctor has diagnosed her as deeply poisoned and very weak. If you go tonight, you'll surely succeed." Hearing that a doctor was treating Cho Yao, Cho Xiao flew into a rage again, grabbing Green Ripples by the clothes to inquire if the doctor had touched Cho Yao's body. For her own safety, Green Ripples quickly claimed the doctor was a woman, and also a great beauty. Hearing Green Ripples' response, Cho Xiao could no longer restrain his inner lecher. One Cho Yao was already irresistible, and now there were Su Chan and a beautiful doctor as well. Thrilled by the prospect of hitting 3 birds with 1 arrow, he could hardly contain himself and headed for the door. However, just as he stepped outside, he happened to run into a trusted servant of Cho Tianwei coming to fetch him. But Cho Xiao, consumed by lust, had no interest in seeing his father. "Ah, so annoying. Can it wait an hour or 2? I have urgent business." But the servant insisted. "No, the master demands you come now." Immediately, despite his reluctance, Cho Xiao had no choice but to comply, albeit grudgingly. Meanwhile, Su Chan had already lit the sleeping incense, and Shen Lang was formulating a treatment plan. The poison inside Cho Yao can't be expelled in a short time. For now, we can only try to lower her blood pressure, but without any anti-hypertensive drugs available in this world, the only option is bloodletting to reduce her blood pressure, then proceed to remove the subdural hematoma. Thankfully, it's subdural. An intracranial hematoma would be untreatable here, as skull surgery is impossible in this world. Next, we'll drill a hole in the skull to drain the hematoma. Fortunately, Cho Yao's extraordinary physique means there's no worry about wound infection. Shen Lang then took out a steel needle, the tool he would use to pierce the skull. The biggest challenge in modern medicine for this procedure is locating the hematoma, but for Shen Lang, with his X-ray vision, this wasn't the main issue. His main concern was his own lack of strength. Fearing he couldn't penetrate Cho Yao's skull, the solution was to let her do it herself. He quickly handed the written treatment plan to Su Chan. Reading Shen Lang's instructions, Su Chan was terrified. The procedure involving bloodletting and piercing seemed like suicide, but as she didn't understand, she could only relay the content to Cho Yao as written. Expecting Cho Yao to be outraged by such a fantastical treatment method, she was merely met with a calm response. "Do as you say. Let's begin." Su Chan was speechless. Truly, 2 lunatics paired up. Then, turning to look at Shen Lang holding the steel needle, she could only pray that he knew what he was doing. Next, Shen Lang found Cho Yao's vein and pierced directly into it, immediately causing blood to spray out. Shocked by the forceful spray of blood, Shen Lang was stunned. Cho Yao's blood pressure was indeed alarming. Su Chan, witnessing this frightening scene, felt dizzy, her body almost giving way before Shen Lang quickly caught her. But Su Chan's feverish body made Shen Lang wonder, is Su Chan ill? As the blood drained, Cho Yao sighed deeply. "Feels so good." Hearing Cho Yao's voice, Shen Lang turned to look, startled by the color of the blood she shed. The small basin of blood appeared red, but from other angles, it refracted different lights, perhaps caused by heavy metals. Once enough blood had been let, Shen Lang removed the needle and stopped the bleeding. pleading. Now, Cho Yaoer could stagger to her feet, sighing again. Comfortable. I haven't felt this good in a long time. Next was the skull puncture. Su Chanshan was showing signs of restlessness, likely due to Cho Zhao's incense. Shenlang then showed Cho Yaoer the next step of the plan, requiring her to perform it under his guidance. With everything ready, Cho Yaoer held the steel needle. Shenlang parted her hair to find the right spot, and by the count of 4 from Su Chanshan, Cho Yaoer had already pierced her skull. The action shocked them both. This woman is truly decisive, as ruthless to herself as she is to others. Then, Shenlang activated his X-ray vision to check Cho Yaoer's skull. Amazing, the angle of the needle is perfect. Truly a top expert. Next, Shenlang removed the steel needle and inserted a disinfected tube into the hole. Normally, solidified hematomas are diluted with saline before being drained, but Shenlang made a bold decision to have Su Chanshan suck it out. As Su Chanshan, trembling, stepped forward, Cho Yaoer stopped her with a wave of her hand. No need, I'll do it myself. After saying that, she sat cross-legged, began to circulate her true energy within her body. As the true energy flowed, with a sudden force, a piece of solidified hematoma was ejected straight from the tube. The moment the hematoma hit the ground, the 2 onlookers were once again stunned. So true energy could be used in such a way. Then, Shenlang used his X-ray vision to scan Cho Yaoer's skull again. Amazing, the hematoma was cleared so cleanly. This surgery was a perfect success. Cho Yaoer's condition had greatly improved. Removing the steel tube from her head, she said, "Your medical skills are indeed superb. Now that you've cured me, speak of your reward." Internally, Shenlang screamed, "I want Furious Tide City," but outwardly, he could only gesture that he wanted nothing. Seeing this, Cho Yaoer gave him an approving look and said, "I owe you a favor. Whatever you need in the future, just ask, and I will oblige." This phrase sounded familiar, suddenly recalling Li Qianqiu had once said something similar. It seems this is a common promise among the powerful. Suddenly, Cho Yaoer began to remove her clothes, leaving the 2 onlookers in a state of shock. Damn, Cho Yaoer is changing her clothes in public? In his mind, Shenlang desperately thought, Huang Feng is coming to sleep with me. Huang Feng is coming to sleep with me. Yet, his nosebleed couldn't be stopped. Damn, has my taste really become so perverse? By then, Cho Yaoer had already changed into a suit of armor. "Stay here, don't leave. I'll be back shortly, though there's also a chance I won't return." Seeing this, Shenlang was alarmed. "Big sister, you've just had surgery. Your wound isn't even bandaged yet, and you've lost over 1,000 cubic centimeters of blood. Do you no longer care for your life?" Su Chanshan also ran to Cho Yaoer's side, pleading, "General, your body hasn't recovered yet. Can't this duel be postponed?" Shenlang was speechless. Su Chanshan, with that tone, "Have you truly fallen for this demoness?" Cho Yaoer turned around with authority. "How can I miss a battle of life and death? Tonight, I will likely lose. But what joy is there in living, and what fear in dying? However, for some reason, why do I feel so strange after the treatment? Could it be a side effect?" After Cho Yaoer left, Shenlang breathed a sigh of relief, finally relaxing. But at the same time, the incense in the room began to take effect. Although Su Chanshan verbally disdained Shenlang's physical reaction, for some reason, her mind oddly anticipated being with Shenlang. Such a reaction was not normal. Su Chanshan quickly made an excuse to take a shower, eager to escape. Suddenly, as if remembering something, she turned and shouted at Shenlang, "I warn you, if you dare to peek, I'll gouge out your eyes. My martial arts may be poor, but I have more than enough skill to deal with you." Watching Su Chanshan run off for no apparent reason, Shenlang finally noticed something was off. "Wait, it's so cold. Why do I feel so internally hot and restless?" Meanwhile, inside the main castle of Furious Tide City, Qiu Tianwei and Qiu Xiao were plotting with Jin High Count Tang Luan. Qiu Tianwei, with a gleam of greed in his eyes, asked Tang Luan, "Are you sure there are gold mines on Cliffwatch Island?" Tang Luan replied gravely, "How else could the mythical turtle count produce 800,000 gold coins in such a short time? Who else could do that? Moreover, many of these coins are freshly minted." With their emphasis on Cliffwatch Island, what other explanation could there be besides discovering a gold mine? Hearing Tang Luan's analysis, Qiu Tianwei still felt the coincidence too great. Why did the gold mine appear now and not earlier or later? Tang Luan was unconcerned. Perhaps the gold mine was discovered long ago and has been mined for a while. It's just that Shenlang waited until the debt repayment deadline to flaunt all the gold coins, hitting everyone in the face. But Qiu Tianwei remained skeptical. Such actions might be something a frivolous person like Shenlang would do, but the mythical turtle count wouldn't agree. That stubborn old turtle would think such actions would bring disaster to the Jin family. At this moment, Qiu Xiao spoke up. "Father, I think there's another possibility. The Jin family has always wanted to conceal the gold mine on Cliffwatch Island, but due to the tight timeline and inability to gather sufficient funds, they had no choice but to use the gold from the island. Moreover, even refining 800,000 gold coins wouldn't be easy, so many of these coins were not fully minted. In the days leading up to the repayment, carts were seen delivering grain to the mansion, most likely loaded with a large amount of gold. If I'm not mistaken, these carts landed at the Jin family's dock, but were intentionally first taken west before being brought back to the mythical turtle count's mansion, giving the impression they came from the west." Hearing Qiu Zhao's analysis, Tang Luan began to offer his strategy. In that case, we might as well seize the island under the guise of pirates, then kill everyone on the island. If the sovereign is displeased, I'll negotiate with the crown prince. We can share a portion of the island's gold with him annually. Qiu Tianwei, hearing about sharing the gold mine, was naturally reluctant, but knowing he couldn't proceed without the support of the sovereign and the crown prince, he asked Tang Luan how much they would have to give up. Tang Luan said without hesitation, "We'll use a quarter of the gold mine to ensure the sovereign doesn't send troops to retake Cliffwatch Island." Given that the mythical turtle count is desperately spending money to expand his army, with an additional 5,000 troops and 3,000 militia recruited, the sovereign has long been dissatisfied. With this, our confrontation with the Jin family will be worry-free. However, the mythical turtle count is increasing his forces daily, and in a month, the garrison on Cliffwatch Island could exceed 4,000, plus 3,000 militia and tens of thousands of laborers. We'll need at least 2 to 3 times the number of soldiers to take it down. Hearing this, Qiu Tianwei was startled. "So, we need at least 20,000 soldiers to smoothly take Cliffwatch Island?" Tang Luan nodded and continued, "The Tang family is willing to contribute 3,000 soldiers. After seizing Cliffwatch Island, I only ask for 15% of the share." Qiu Tianwei sneered. Even 15% is no small sum. Seeing Qiu Tianwei still hesitating, Tang Luan became increasingly anxious. "Furious Tides Marquis, please make a decision quickly. Not to mention the defense of Cliffwatch Island strengthens by the day. This fat piece is currently only to be shared among us, the Crown Prince, and you. In the future, who knows how many big players will come to share the feast." Qiu Tianwei remained silent, not because he disagreed with Tang Luan's argument. "Just mobilizing 20,000 troops at once would nearly deplete my forces. What if there's no gold mine on Cliffwatch Island, and it's all Shenlang's scheme?" Thinking this, he stood up and said, "Jin High Count, you must confirm for me whether there truly is a gold mine on Cliffwatch Island. Otherwise, I won't deploy troops recklessly." Hearing Qiu Tianwei's demand, Tang Luan sighed. "The entire Cliffwatch Island is heavily guarded now. Dozens of my scouts have gone and not returned. They don't hesitate to kill our men." At this moment, Qiu Xiao stood up. "Let me handle this. Behind me are the tens of thousands of pirates of Furious Tide City, my father's backing. The Jin family wouldn't dare harm a hair on my head. Shenlang seeks revenge for the slightest grievance. Everyone who has offended him has been dealt with, except for me. When I insulted Jin Mulan, he didn't dare make a sound. Even when I had someone poison their well to spread disease, Shenlang didn't dare to react. When Zhu Lanting and I planned to flood the Jin family's lands, only Zhu Lanting died while I remained unscathed. What does this tell you?" Hearing this, Tang Luan's lips curled up, then he bowed and added, "It shows that Shenlang is a classic bully who fears the strong. When facing true power, he can only stand by idly, naturally not daring to harm a hair on young master Qiu Xiao." Qiu Tianwei was quite pleased with this assessment and immediately ordered Qiu Xiao to lead troops the next day to investigate. On the other side, Qiu Yaoer, about to go into battle, also noticed something wrong with her body. "Something's off. Why is my body so unbearably hot? Did the doctor drug me? No, it couldn't be her." Then she thought of the burning incense. Could someone have tampered with it? Instantly angered by the thought, she wouldn't be mad if someone wanted to kill her, but the idea of being violated was serious. Remembering her appointment with Zhu Hongxue, she immediately summoned several guards. "Gather a squad to guard outside my room. Protect Su Chanchan and the doctor. If any man tries to enter, kill without hesitation." Then she circulated her true energy to suppress the heat in her body. However, once desire surged, how could it be suppressed? Reluctantly, she took out a dagger and slashed her arm, watching the blood flow out. Feeling much relieved, the method taught by the doctor really works. Seeing that everything was temporarily resolved, Qiu Yaoer immediately rode her horse to the appointed location. She had to end the battle quickly, or Su Chanchan and the doctor would be in danger. A quarter hour later, Qiu Yaoer arrived at the eastern beach of Thunderous Isle, and the person sitting cross-legged before her was the pride of heaven, Zhu Hongxue. As he opened his eyes, it was clear his attractiveness was on par with Shenlang's. While Shenlang had a gentle beauty, Zhu Hongxue exuded an endless masculine charm. Zhu Hongxue stood up slowly and said, "Qiu Yaoer, long time no see. Hope all is well. Your teacher asked me when you would leave Furious Tide City to adventure with her to the other side of the sea." Qiu Yaoer shook her head. "I don't know yet. The person I'm waiting for hasn't appeared. Where's your sister Ning Han? Wasn't she supposed to accompany you?" "The princess didn't come because she's with teacher Suiqi on an island overseas, excavating ancient inscriptions." Qiu Yaoer continued, "She was supposed to duel with me this time. Instead, she sent you and didn't even show her face." Zhu Hongxue explained, "Princess Ning Han is stronger than me. If I win, she wins by extension. If I lose, she can still step in. After all, the princess doesn't like to fight." Qiu Yaoer laughed. With her martial skills so high, if she doesn't fight, what's the point of life? However, as soon as she finished speaking, the fire within her surged out again. Feeling something was wrong, Qiu Yaoer wasted no more words and immediately went into battle mode. She couldn't hold on much longer and needed to end the battle quickly. Zhu Hongxue naturally noticed her condition. "Qiu Yaoer, your heartbeat is fast, and you're losing energy and blood. Are you injured?" But Qiu Cho Yaoer ignored his question, drawing her ghost blade and attacking him. Enough talk, let's get started. Seeing Cho Yaoer launch the attack, Zhu Hongxue also bowed and entered battle mode. The next second, both appeared in front of each other like teleportation, their swords clashing in an instant, gathering energy and emitting a dazzling light. The next moment, it exploded like two stars colliding, and when everything settled, a giant crater had formed where they stood. By then, Cho Yaoer was bleeding from 7 orifices, while Zhu Hongxue was also trembling, his right hand bleeding profusely. In that moment, both said almost simultaneously, "I lost." Cho Yaoer roared, "Shut up, I lost. You can leave." Zhu Hongxue shook his head. "It's me who lost. With that one strike, I have pushed my strength to the limit, but not only did you not use your full force, you also fought with injuries." Cho Yaoer didn't turn back. "Just go." Zhu Hongxue took a deep look at her back. "Take care." Then, with a leap, he vanished. Feeling Zhu Hongxue's presence disappear, Cho Yaoer could no longer support her body, collapsing heavily to the ground. The battle with Zhu Hongxue had drained all her strength. Now, she couldn't suppress it anymore. Feeling her consciousness burning away, she knew she had to hurry back. Only the female doctor could save her now. Using all her strength, she climbed onto her mount and instinctively raced home. Meanwhile, inside Cho Yaoer's castle, the situation was also grim. Shenlang realized their incense had been tampered with. He couldn't stand up at all and could only shout for Su Qianqian to extinguish the incense. However, all he got was Su Qianqian's faint refusal. I won't go out. You'll bully me if I do. You extinguish it yourself." Shenlang could only struggle towards the incense burner, but it seemed the incense also contained paralyzing agents. Before he could move, his consciousness began to blur. In the next second, he passed out. Meanwhile, after his secret talk with Qiu Tianwei, Qiu Xiao, unable to wait, rushed to the outside of Cho Yaoer's castle. However, several guards at the door drew their swords to block him. Seeing this, Qiu Xiao slapped one across the face. "Do you not have eyes? I am the young master of Furious Tide City. This entire castle is mine, and yet you dare to stop me?" But the guards did not recognize the scum that Qiu Xiao was as their master, directly responding, "Sorry, our only master is Cho Yaoer." Hearing this, Qiu Xiao was furious. So, Cho Yaoer, relying on having over 10,000 people under her, now even her men dare to stand above me, the legitimate young master? How can I tolerate this? He then drew his saber and roared, "Don't forget this castle belongs to my family. Even Cho Yaoer's life is owed to my family. If it weren't for my father's help, she wouldn't be alive today. Step aside immediately." Seeing his stance, the guards formed a human wall in front of him. "Young Master Qiu Xiao, please leave, or we will be forced to take lethal action." Qiu Xiao sneered, raising his saber and charging forward. "You forced my hand." After swinging his saber, he managed to severely injure 3 guards. Qiu Zhao's combat ability, though not as strong as Cho Yaoer's, was above Jin Mulan's, allowing him to quickly overpower the guards. He arrogantly declared, "With just you few trying to stop me, you're overestimating yourselves." Faced with Qiu Xiao, a ruthless scoundrel, the lead guard no longer held back, leading the remaining guards in a charge towards Qiu Xiao. Seeing the guards so enraged, Qiu Xiao was excited, meeting their attack with his saber, striking with lethal force. Now, only the lead guard could still contend with Qiu Xiao for a moment. Seeing less than 10 comrades left, the lead guard became desperate, fearing, "I can't hold off this beast, but even in death, I cannot let him enter my master's room." With this thought, the lead guard ordered the few remaining guards to attack Qiu Xiao together. Facing their relentless assault, Qiu Xiao struggled to defend. "Have these people gone mad, trying to exchange injuries with me? Do they want my life?" Suddenly, Qiu Xiao felt intense pain in his back as a guard managed to wound him. Enraged, Qiu Xiao turned and split the guard's sword in two. Then, like a madman, slashed fiercely at the guards, their speed and brutality leaving no chance for them to fight back. Eventually, he pressed his blade against the lead guard's neck, pinning her against the wall. "Now, just a bit of force, and your head will part from your body. Will you continue to obstruct me?" The lead guard glared at Qiu Xiao. "Qiu Xiao, if you want to enter my master's room, you'll have to step over my dead body." Qiu Xiao sneered, "Since you wish to die, I'll oblige." Just as he was about to strike, a gold coin hit his hand, the force causing him to drop his saber. Feeling panicked, he roared, clutching his injured hand, "Who dares ruin my plans?" But upon seeing the person before him, fear flashed in his eyes. A tall, imposing figure emerged from the darkness, none other than Cho Yaoer. Qiu Xiao, terrified, thought, "Shouldn't she be affected by my incense in her room?" Confused, he asked Cho Yaoer, "Why aren't you in your room at this hour? Where have you been?" Cho Yaoer coldly responded, "I went to duel with Zhu Hongxue." Qiu Xiao was shocked. Duel? Wasn't Cho Yaoer poisoned? Since she returned unharmed, does that mean Zhu Hongxue lost? Could the incense have had no effect on her? The lead guard came forward to admit fault. "Master, forgive us for our incompetence. This beast injured 7 of our sisters." Cho Yaoer immediately ordered, "Heal them at all costs." Watching the guards leave, Qiu Xiao trembled with rage. "Cho Yaoer, by dismissing these guards, what does it show? It proves you never took me." Qiu Xiao, seriously at all. Suddenly, Cho Yaoer swung her blade towards Qiu Xiao. "Qiu Xiao, I've tolerated you because you're my brother, but now that you dare to harm my people, I cannot forgive you this time." As the ghost blade descended, Qiu Xiao dodged in time, letting feeling the blade strike the ground. With a loud noise, all of Qiu Zhao's defiance dissipated. He just wanted to flee, but he was still not willing to give up. Qiu Yaoer, you wait for me. Furious Tide City belongs to me. One day, I will make you beg for death. In a blink of an eye, Qiu Xiao had run off. Seeing him gone, Qiu Yaoer could no longer hold herself up. She was almost unable to stand, having used her last bit of strength to scare Qiu Xiao away. Now, her face flushed. She gasped for air. She needed to see the doctor. Only he could save her. Using her last bit of energy, she staggered back to her room, but the room was filled with smoke, and she could only see a figure twisting in pain on the ground. Qiu Yaoer hurried to help the figure dressed as a woman, but the hem of Shenlang's skirt betrayed him. Qiu Yaoer was shocked. This doctor is actually a man. However, the incense in the room also unsettled Qiu Yaoer's mind. Looking at Shenlang's perfect face, under the influence of the incense, even though she kept telling herself not to cross the line, she ultimately couldn't resist and kissed him. Having tasted sweetness, Qiu Yaoer no longer hid her desires, casting aside her clothes and then pressing Shenlang beneath her on the bed. As passion ignited between them, the lead guard, who had come to fulfill her duty, was at a loss upon witnessing the scene. Meanwhile, not far from the castle, on the sea, the surging waves violently crashed against the rocks. The sound of the waves and the voices of Qiu Yaoer and Shenlang, like a symphony, rose and fell, as if to release years of suppression in one breath. The lead guard immediately organized all guards to start training, their shouts covering the sounds from their master. Master, this is all we can do. Please freely express yourself. Yet, far away in the mythical Turtle City, preparing for battle, Jean Mulan was oblivious, still longing for her unworthy husband. Upon entering the hall, she eagerly asked where young Master Shen was. Little Bing could only honestly reveal, young Master Shen has been out for several days and hasn't said where he went. Jean Mulan turned to find Jean Mutsong, knowing that Shenlang would tell her brother-in-law about any personal matters. At that moment, Jean Mutsong was in the study, diligently writing. Jean Mulan, puzzled, asked, why are you still copying books when your brother-in-law is not home? Jean Mutsong smiled and told Mulan, with brother-in-law away, the story has no continuation, so I can only copy what's been written before to satisfy myself. But frowning at the manuscript, Jean Mutsong said, brother-in-law mentioned the Bull Demon King was cuckolded, but I don't see it. Jean Mulan, feeling anxious, impatiently asked where Shenlang had gone. Brother-in-law went to Furious Tide City. Upon hearing this, Jean Mulan became unsettled. Furious Tide City is such a dangerous place. What is my husband doing there? Who's with him to protect him? Jean Mutsong reassured her with a smile. Brother-in-law has arranged for a female bodyguard to protect himself. This made Jean Mulan even more anxious. What does this female bodyguard look like? Seeing his sister so agitated, Jean Mutsong hurriedly explained. Brother-in-law said she's uglier than me, which I think is quite good. Jean Mulan glanced at her brother, feeling somewhat relieved internally. However, she was still curious what could make her fragile husband venture to Furious Tide City. Jean Mutsong said, Su Chanchan sent a secret message saying Qiu Yaoer suddenly fell ill and was in critical condition, so brother-in-law went to save her. Hearing it was to save Qiu Yaoer, Mulan felt a twinge in her heart. Still, she reminded herself, though her husband might be a scoundrel, she trusted Qiu Yaoer's character. She wanted to go find Shenlang, but burdened with important duties, she could only pray her husband wouldn't encounter any danger. Meanwhile, inside the main castle of Furious Tide City, Qiu Xiao, furious, confronted Qiu Tianwei. Father, how long will you tolerate Qiu Yaoer? She's not your biological daughter, yet now she commands over 10,000 pirates. If we don't act, Furious Tide City will soon swear allegiance to her. However, Qiu Tianwei completely ignored his foolish son's ranting. He knew Qiu Yaoer too well. Anyone might covet the lordship of Furious Tide City, but she wouldn't. Focused on the map before him, his concern was only for Cliffwatch Island, the island of gold. Suddenly, Qiu Xiao shouted, Father, people change. You must find a way to cripple Qiu Yaoer's martial arts. It was then Qiu Tianwei realized his foolish son had provoked Qiu Yaoer, erupting in anger. Fool, don't think I don't know what you're up to. If it weren't for my sake, she would have killed you by now. Now, set off for Cliffwatch Island immediately, or if she comes asking for you, I won't be able to protect you. Qiu Xiao, confused, asked, who really is the master of Furious Tide City? Qiu Tianwei explained, currently, Qiu Hao is defending the Isle of Gold Mountain, and I am about to lead a large army to attack Cliffwatch Island. The most suitable person to protect Furious Tide City is Qiu Yaoer. As long as she is there is absolutely no need to worry about the rear catching fire. Hearing his father's words, Qiu Xiao fell silent. Even if he was reluctant, he had to admit that the pirates of Furious Tide City only reluctantly recognized Qiu Tianwei as their leader. Who knows how many pirates are eyeing the position of the main fortress? If it weren't for Qiu Yaoer's presence, they would have rebelled long ago. You go to Cliffwatch Island to investigate. You must see the gold mine with your own eyes. Once the existence of the gold mine is confirmed, negotiations should start with the mythical turtle Count and Shenlang. As long as they agree to give up half of the gold mine, we will not only refrain from attacking Cliffwatch Island, but also send troops to protect them. Qiu Xiao was stunned. Doesn't this amount to betraying Tang Luan? Qiu Tianwei sneered. We are pirates. What credibility do we we have? Collaborating with Tangluan might give us a 60% share, but casualties are inevitable. But if we reach an agreement with the mythical turtle count, getting 50% without a fight, what's wrong with that? Kill Shenlang later on, and after you marry Jean Mulan, won't the entire Cliff Watch Island be ours? Hearing his father's words, a wicked smirk appeared on Qiu Xiao's face. Then, urged by Qiu Tianwei, Qiu Xiao ran out without looking back. Seeing his son leave, Qiu Tianwei planned to visit Qiu Yaoer. He now very much wanted to meet the female doctor who cured Qiu Yaoer. Such a capable woman, if she could be persuaded to stay, would surely be a good thing. Overnight, time flew by. Furious Tide City welcomed a new day. A ray of morning sunlight through the window landed on Shenlang. Having just woken up, he felt a splitting headache, as if every bone in his body was about to fall apart. Looking at his body covered in wounds, Shenlang felt like crying without tears. My God, what terrible thing did I go through last night? But when he remembered Qiu Yaoer's perfect face from last night, he felt somewhat comforted deep inside. Suddenly, he bolted upright, facing a terrible problem. Qiu Yaoer dislikes men touching her. After what happened last night, though he didn't know why he was still alive, he needed to run away immediately. Then, using all his strength, he trembled and got out of bed. Just as he was hurrying to the door, leaning on the wall, he ran into Su Qianqian, who was also trembling. At that moment, Su Qianqian had dark circles under her bloodshot eyes, 2 streams of snot hanging down, looking like she was about to collapse. Afraid that last night was just a dream, Shenlang immediately pointed at Su Qianqian and asked, "Why do you also look like a ghost? Did we do something last night?" Su Qianqian exploded in anger. "Go dream on." After saying that, she sneezed violently. Shenlang then realized, it seems Su Qianqian took a cold bath all night to suppress her desires. Feeling sorry for her for a moment. "Ah, you've had a tough time." Hearing this, Su Qianqian was so angry she cursed. "Say that again, and I'll kill you." Then Shenlang asked Su Qianqian where Qiu Yaoer had gone. At this, Su Qianqian showed a mischievous smile. "The general is currently meeting Qiu Tianwei. He seems to have taken a liking to you, and wants to take you into his house. He is asking the general for you right now." Shenlang was shocked. Damn, am I really going to be doomed at the Qiu family today? Earlier in the castle hall, Qiu Tianwei learned that a beautiful physician had cured Qiu Yaoer. He immediately went to Qiu Yaoer's castle. Of course, Qiu Tianwei wouldn't directly ask for her. He first expressed his concern about Qiu Yaoer's illness, and promised to dig 3 feet into the ground to find the person who poisoned her and let her deal with them. However, facing Qiu Tianwei's concern, Qiu Yaoer seemed indifferent, merely responding with a light M. Seeing Qiu Yaoer's cold attitude towards himself, Qiu Tianwei was very dissatisfied, but still suppressed his anger and told her, "I am about to lead troops into battle. The safety of Furious Tide City will be in your hands, Qiu Yaoer." But even with such a significant matter, Qiu Yaoer only responded with a again. For her, if she couldn't even protect the city, that would be utterly ridiculous. Her thoughts were entirely on the storm last night. Seeing Qiu Yaoer's absent-mindedness, Qiu Tianwei lost his patience and directly said, "I heard that a highly skilled female physician came here and cured your serious illness." Hearing Qiu Tianwei mention Shenlang, Qiu Yaoer was suddenly shocked. "Foster father, how do you know about this female physician?" Seeing Qiu Yaoer's reaction, Green Ripples stepped forward and said, "Miss, the matter of you being poisoned concerns your life and safety. I felt it necessary to report to the Lord. We must investigate thoroughly, so I mentioned the female physician as well." After hearing Green Ripple's explanation, Qiu Yaoer calmly looked at her without saying much. But at this moment, in Green Ripple's view, Qiu Yaoer did not get angry, because she had the Lord's support, which is why she didn't dare to touch her. Wasn't this the perfect opportunity to retaliate against Su Qianqian? Changing her usually respectful attitude towards Qiu Yaoer, Green Ripples arrogantly said, "Miss, that Su Qianqian is the daughter-in-law of New River Prefect Zhang Chong. Wasn't she supposed to be dead? How did she appear here, so coincidentally find you, and even stay by your side?" At this moment, Qiu Tianwei spoke again. "Yaoer, I've been battling at sea for years and naturally have sustained some internal injuries. How about you let me have this female physician?" Qiu Yaoer shook her head and directly refused. "You can have someone else, but not this physician." Qiu Tianwei felt a surge of anger. "Am I not your adoptive father and the Lord of Furious Tide City? You, Qiu Yaoer, dare to refuse me?" But he continued to negotiate with her on the surface. "Yaoer, having such a skilled physician under my command would surely benefit everyone. Of course, you could still call on her whenever you need treatment." However, Qiu Yaoer still, with an expressionless face, uttered a sentence that shocked everyone. "This female physician has already slept with me." Green Ripples looked at her incredulously. "This physician is a woman. Does the general really like women?" Qiu Tianwei was even more surprised, his eyelids twitching, awkwardly laughing as he said, "Since it's like this, let's pretend I never said anything today. But since you won't let me take her away, at least let me have a look at her, right?" Yet Qiu Yaoer still outright refused him. With that, Qiu Tianwei's anger reached its peak. "What? I can't even have a look at her if I can't take her away?" For the first time, Qiu Yaoer explained, "Last night was too crazy. Her face and body are severely injured, so it's not suitable for her to see anyone." After hearing this, Qiu Tianwei fell silent. "Your martial arts are extraordinary, Qiu Yaoer. You didn't kill her, did you? He could only cough twice as a sign of compromise. Then, he changed the subject. I've heard about the deeds of that beast, Chiu Xiao, last night. I wanted to teach him a lesson, but the wretch fled quickly and has already left the sea. When he returns, I will capture him and let you deal with him. Knowing her own adoptive father wouldn't truly act against his own son, Chiu Yao naturally understood this principle. This Chiu Xiao is still my brother after all. Let's forget it this time. But if there's a next time, don't blame me for being ruthless. Since the conversation was going nowhere and he couldn't gain an advantage, Chiu Tianwei no longer stayed, making the excuse of having matters to attend to, and then he got up and left. At this moment, seeing that Chiu Tianwei did not take her with him, Green Ripples hurriedly reverted to her previous flattering manner, kneeling by Chiu Yao's side, inquiring about what exactly happened last night. Then she even put on a sorrowful and self-blaming facade, lamenting that she should have stayed by her master's side. Seeing Green Ripples' contrived behavior, Chiu Yao instantly felt a sense of aversion but also indifferently said, "Green Ripples, come with me." A moment later, the two arrived at the bedroom. At this time, Shenlang was still in tattered clothes, sitting on the bed with Su Chanshan, inadequately clothed. Seeing Chiu Yao enter, Shenlang panicked. Chiu Yao wouldn't really agree to send me to her father as a concubine, would she? Chiu Yao sat next to Shenlang and began, "Someone here colluded with Chiu Xiao and drugged the incense last night." Hearing this news, Green Ripples immediately pretended to be shocked, saying, "Who would dare to act against the general?" The next second, she pointed at Su Chanshan and shouted, "It must be you, you wretch. Speak up. When did you collude with young Master Chiu Xiao and poison the general? Right, you were the one who went to buy these incenses. The shop where you bought the incense must have a problem." After finishing, she once again knelt by Chiu Yao's side, indignantly saying, "Su Chanshan must be punished. This matter must be thoroughly investigated." Watching this bitch's performance, Su Chanshan was so angry she gritted her teeth. The place where the incense was bought was recommended by this bitch, and now she even tries to frame me. At this moment, the bitch pointed at Su Chanshan and sternly said, "Master, this wretch Su Chanshan lurking by your side definitely has ulterior motives. A severe interrogation will surely make her confess." Su Chanshan also became angry, took out the incense, and retorted, "Green Ripples, don't slander me here. The places where the incense was bought were all recommended by you, and it was clearly tampered with after being bought." Green Ripples scoffed, "You say the incense was switched. Do you have evidence? I have been following our master for many years, and these problems only started after you arrived. Are you trying to frame me? I think you deliberately swapped the incense, then brought in a physician disguised as a woman, all to take our master's chastity." After saying this, she ran back to Chiu Yao's side, earnestly saying, "Master, only we know about this. Why not just kill these two right now? That way, it's as if this never happened." Chiu Yao just quietly watched her performance. When did this once innocent girl become such a liar, ruthless and cold-hearted? Finally, Shenlang spoke up, "Green Ripples, you're the one colluding with Chiu Xiao, aren't you?" Green Ripples, caught and furious, demanded Shenlang provide evidence of her collusion with Chiu Xiao. Shenlang calmly lifted her collar, pointing to the marks on her neck, and asked, "How did you get these marks?" Seeing this, Green Ripples swatted Shenlang's hand away, nervously saying, "This is from mosquito bites. I accidentally scratched them." Shenlang activated his titanium alloy eyes, scanned Green Ripples' body, and then mocked, "Are the words on your buttocks also self-inflicted?" Green Ripples trembled inside. "Don't talk nonsense. What words on my buttocks? Master, I'll call someone to tie up this pair of scoundrels right now." But before she could finish, Chiu Yao spoke up, "Green Ripples, remove your skirt. Let's see and know for sure." At this moment, Green Ripples, not knowing what to do, stood frozen in place, unable to move. Suddenly, two guards sprang from behind and grabbed Green Ripples, causing her to panic. Then, taking advantage of their unpreparedness, she turned and ran towards the outside, believing that as long as she could reach Chiu Tianwei, he could save her life. However, the two guards were not to be underestimated and immediately tackled her, causing her to fall flat on her face. Then, they lifted her skirt, and indeed, there were words engraved, "Chiu Zhao's wench." Seeing these shocking words, Su Chanshan quickly stepped forward and scolded, "You and Chiu Xiao sure know how to play. What do you have to say now?" Green Ripples, seeing her scheme exposed, hurriedly crawled to Chiu Yao, kneeling and begging pitifully, "Master, it was all young Master Chiu Xiao who forced me. He raped me and forced me to swap your incense. It was all his instructions." However, listening to Green Ripples' pleas, Chiu Yao felt nothing but disgust in her heart. She remained silent until the guards took her away. At this moment, Green Ripples stopped begging. With tears of rage, she shouted, "Chiu Yao, this is all your fault. I desperately tried to please you, to get close to you, just so you would publicly acknowledge me as your sworn sister. Was that so hard for you? Why should I have to be your slave for life? If you saved me initially, why couldn't you save me all the way?" As she spoke, Green Ripples collapsed to the ground, but she still muttered, "Chiu Xiao toyed with me, but he also promised to take me as his concubine. I just wanted to be one of the mistresses of this castle. What's wrong with that? I just didn't want to be a lowly servant for life like them." At this moment, Chiu Yao stood up and walked over to Green Ripples. In that instant, Green Ripples seemed to see hope again. She crawled to Chiu Yao and hugged her legs. "Master, as long as you accept instruct me as your sworn sister. I will be utterly loyal to you. I will go to the Lord and expose all of young Master Qiu Zhao's plots, ensuring he is severely punished. However, Qiu Yaoer still did not speak, only gently stroking Green Ripple's forehead with her hand. With a trembling voice, Green Ripples asked her master, "Have you forgiven me?" However, the next second, Qiu Yaoer's hand lightly patted, and with a snap, Green Ripple's body went limp. Suddenly, the entire room fell silent. Through his X-ray vision, Shenlang discovered that Green Ripple's brain had been turned into mush. Too terrifying. It seems that although Qiu Yaoer does not kill women, she is absolutely ruthless towards traitors. With the death of the traitor Green Ripples, the matter of the switched incense also came to an end. After instructing the guards to clean up the body, Qiu Yaoer turned and walked toward Shenlang and the others. At this moment, Su Qianqian was extremely nervous, having just witnessed Qiu Yaoer's treatment of the traitor, and now, Shenlang, who was disguised as a woman, was brought in by her, not to mention what happened between them last night. What would her own fate be? Thinking this, Su Qianqian, intending to be candid in hopes of leniency, thought to explain to Qiu Yaoer first, but before she could speak, Qiu Yaoer stopped her. "You don't need to explain to me. I don't want to hear it. I don't care who you are or what your purpose is in lurking around me. I'm not interested in these." Then she looked at Shenlang. "The Buddha must be destroyed that Su Qianqian talked about. Was it written by you?" Shenlang was initially stunned, then nodded. "Yes, I wrote it." Qiu Yaoer's eyes showed admiration as she said, "To write such a masterpiece indicates you have another world in your mind. That's truly remarkable." Then she turned around, brought over a wooden box, opened it to reveal it was full of gold coins, and then said to Shenlang, "I won't kill you. Take these gold coins and leave." Shenlang looked at Qiu Yaoer with a deadpan expression. "Is this supposed to compensate for the physical and mental harm done to me?" Qiu Yaoer did not deny it. "Last night was indeed very pleasant, so your statement is not wrong." After finishing, she looked at Su Qianqian. "Since you were in league with him, you should leave with him as well. Whatever your motives and schemes are, they won't succeed. I don't want to see you again." Su Qianqian's face changed dramatically after hearing this. "I absolutely cannot leave. Taking down Qiu Yaoer of Furious Tide City is crucial for my revenge. To avenge my family, I must complete the task Shenlang assigned to me." Thinking this, Su Qianqian suddenly fell to her knees in front of Qiu Yaoer, then said through gritted teeth, "Master, please don't send me away. I did all this just to avenge my family." Saying this, she cried and pointed at Shenlang. "This man, Shenlang, although a scoundrel and a villain, has the capability to help me take revenge on my fiancée, Zhang Ji. That's why I agreed to help him and infiltrate your side. But he is also my enemy, the one who destroyed my family's legacy. He thought you liked women, so he had me come to seduce you, but I didn't manage to seduce you. Instead, I fell for your charm." Listening to Su Qianqian's words, Shenlang was dumbfounded. "Damn, big sister, do you really want me dead? Why spill everything?" Su Qianqian continued with tears. "Master, if you insist on sending me away to return to Shenlang's side rather than live in darkness, I'd rather die." After saying this, she actually got up and rushed towards the stone wall. Seeing this, Qiu Yaoer simply raised her hand and flicked Su Qianqian away. Seeing herself saved, Su Qianqian was overjoyed inside. "There's hope. Since Qiu Yaoer saved me, that means she was moved by my words." Seizing the opportunity, Su Qianqian hugged Qiu Yaoer's legs again. "This Shenlang is my ex-husband. He and Zhang Ji, one destroyed my family's legacy, and the other killed my entire family. I have irreconcilable vendettas against both, because they had a falling out. Following the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I colluded with Shenlang. Now that Shenlang can no longer help me with my revenge, it's better to get rid of him." Hearing Su Qianqian's words, Shenlang immediately panicked. "Su Qianqian, don't talk nonsense." At this moment, Qiu Yaoer finally spoke up. "Someone, take this man away." As her words fell, two guards immediately came forward and seized Shenlang. Ignoring his explanations, Qiu Yaoer approached and said, "Since he likes to dress as a woman, dress him up again and then send him away from Thunderous Isle. He is not allowed to set foot on the island ever again." Struggling, Shenlang suddenly said, "General, may I take a bath before leaving?" This unexpected request made Qiu Yaoer pause sharply, but seeing Shenlang's injured state, she agreed to his request and then said, "Although I don't know your true purpose in approaching me, I am still grateful that you saved me. Also, I'm sorry for the harm done to you last night. This box of gold coins is merely compensation from me, and I still owe you for saving my life. If you ever need to be repaid, send someone to find me, but if your request involves harming my adoptive father, I will not agree. After all, if he hadn't saved me 20 years ago, I would have died at sea long ago." After saying this, Qiu Yaoer no longer paid attention to him and walked out. Seeing this, Su Qianqian hurriedly followed. Watching the two leave, Shenlang felt speechless. "Su Qianqian, you've really turned into a sycophant." A moment later, Shenlang was grimacing in the bath, reflecting on the progress of his plan, which was indeed risky. If Qiu Xiao hadn't switched the incense, my identity wouldn't have been exposed. Luckily, Su Qianqian cleverly stayed behind. Although she is still fixated on seeking revenge against the Zhang family, she won't betray me for now, but it's hard to say if her obsession with Qiu Yaoer might lead to changes in the future. Suddenly, Shenlang thought about last night. Although there were unexpected events on this trip, there were gains. It's just a pity that my first time was with Chiu Yaoer. Thinking of this, the image of Jean Mulan appeared in Shenlang's mind. Damn, if Jean Mulan finds out about this, will I be beaten to death? Meanwhile, far away in mythical Turtle City, Jean Mulan seemed to have a premonition, constantly sneezing. She didn't know why, but she felt something bad had happened to her husband. However, amidst her worries, she noticed nothing amiss. On the other side, the Count of Mythical Turtle was busy every day, dispatching troops and laborers to Cliffwatch Island, as per Shenlang's request. Their ally, Wang Tong, also lent his full support, transporting a large amount of materials to aid in the construction of Cliffwatch Island. At this moment, the massive operation, even the Count of Mythical Turtle himself felt as if he was truly guarding a gold mine on Cliffwatch Island. Madame Jean also marveled at her son-in-law's wisdom and boldness. Only such a grand gesture could make those cunning folks believe there's really a gold mine on Cliffwatch Island. Now, the Count of Mythical Turtle was leading the last troop to Cliffwatch Island. Although Madame Jean was joking and laughing with the Count on the surface, she was somewhat sentimental inside. The Count comforted his delicate wife. Madam, rest assured, Shenlang and I will be fine. Our good son-in-law has set a trap on the island. As soon as the enemies land, the only thing awaiting them is a dead end. Speaking of Shenlang, Madame Jean became worried again. After all, her gentle son-in-law was not skilled in martial arts, and it was really worrisome for him to go out alone. The Count of Mythical Turtle laughed heartily. With Shenlang's intelligence, he is only in the position to harm others. The person who could harm him probably hasn't been born yet. After repeating his advice for his wife to stay safe and take care of herself, under Madame Jean's gaze, the Count of Mythical Turtle mounted his high horse, leading thousands of elite warriors, marched majestically towards the dock. With this, the grand drama of Shenlang's Golden Island is about to reach its climax. Next, we just wait for those greedy fools to walk into the trap.